Welcome to Anti-REPTOID Radio, Episode 8. I'm Dr. David Ziz.
And I'm Brother John.
We've been talking a lot about politics lately. The DNC, the RNC, and lately the mainstream media has been putting out a bunch of diversions about Trump because they want to distract from the fact that an Australian senator is revealing the truth about the climate change conspiracy, Angela Merkel's being deposed in Germany, the Muslim invasion is happening everywhere, that they're just throwing too many facts at you so you can't pay attention with the Trump thing to what's really going on all across the world, every day, everywhere.
Right, and that's the reptilians, of course.
The reptilians, yes.
The reptilian takeover is imminent. Project Lucifer is well underway.
It's going to be part of the Hillary administration's crown jewel.
Right. She is the rising Antichrist. But again, these are all distractions from the truth.
Video games are programming us to love the reptilians.
That's right. And this is going to be the special focus of today's episode, is the influence of the Satanic Illuminati on our minds, on our children's minds, through video games.
You know, I never used to think the tinfoil hat thing had much sense to it. But years ago, when I was watching my son play Morrowind, and I realized that the Argonian doesn't wear a helmet, it hit me that they are signaling Saturn via the moon with their uncovered headwear.
Morrowind and the entire Elder Scrolls series is satanic.
Dragonborn.
Now, this is especially this recent Skyrim. This is all about the reptilians. This is about the reptilians coming back to the land and taking what is theirs as the men squabble and fight amongst one another.
Yes, as they fight and worship their many gods and fight with Easterners who deny their god.
And while they worship these false gods, the reptilians are hard at work taking over. And these are not just any reptilians, these are lich reptilians.
Lich reptilians. And this is the thing, this is the Hegelian dialectic. There's a fight between the High Elves, the Almeri Empire, and the Empire is at an uneasy peace with them, and there's civil war going on. There's all these distractions, all these thought poisons being given to the Nords, and then the reptiles come back through the time stream to take over the present.
Right. And so I think that if you're gonna play Skyrim, I think you need to ask yourself some really serious questions.
Do I love Jesus?
Do you? Because if you do, you won't play Skyrim.
No, I researched Skyrim. I researched it. I did not enjoy a single minute of it.
No, it's a dreadful game, really.
The only thing worse is Oblivion.
That game.
You are setting up an emperor. The whole purpose of the game is, after the assassination of a tyrant, you are to install a new one in worship of the old gods.
And take portals to hell.
To hell! It's like Doom. It's like Doom.
These game creators, these Illuminati agents, they're unabashed in their insults of us.
They're laughing at us.
They just depict exactly what they do.
Exactly. And the whole time, there are games that revel in this. Diablo. The hero at the end of the first one, after defeating Satan, they mock you by saying, you never defeat Satan, as he plunges the soul stone into his forehead.
Now, let's talk about Diablo, because right now, the Satanists over at Blizzard Entertainment, who have enslaved the minds of so many people.
They are using their Warcraft propaganda to make China take over Hollywood.
And StarCraft?
StarCraft in Origin was going to be a Warhammer game.
Which is also a game that involves satanic, demonic entities.
But they knew that they already could sell to Warhammer people, so they tweaked it. They put it as the anti-Warhammer. Now there's this false opposition, Warhammer versus Warhammer in the market.
It's the Hegelian dialectic.
Exactly.
And that is purely what the reptilians want. They want us distracted from the truth of themselves.
And they show it there. There are these awful beings, these advanced monsters that have been watching us for years, and they have zealots watching us. These Protoss, these protean beasts.
That's right. And then they have the Zerg, which, of course...
The Chinese, with the overmind, the hive mind.
That's right.
The number of lives that don't matter to them, that they'll throw away in their quest for assimilating all of humanity.
The Zerg are a metaphor for the globalists.
Exactly.
But that is why the Zerg are celebrated as the apex predator in this series. It's much like the Tyranids.
Exactly.
In the Warhammer series. It's a disgusting game, to be honest. I mean, they just leap from planet to planet, absorbing souls. I mean, that's what the reptilians do.
I do appreciate, though, that they, while trying to make humanity in the game look bad, that the humanity is, when you get down to it, really just virtuous and a thin veil for the Christian trying to stand up for his right. And they're trying to demonize defending ourselves.
Right, but they worship an emperor, and as we both know, there is only one Lord.
There's only one Lord, the King of the Jews, Jesus Christ.
That's correct. And he is the true emperor of mankind. And he will reign. He is the Prince of Peace. He is the wonderful counselor and the mighty God. He is everlasting Father.
Yes. Amen.
Amen. Now, what we want to talk about is the Diablo series, because the dark satanic wizards over at Blizzard Entertainment, these men are constantly casting their webs on people by releasing new patches.
New content.
Now, all this is like a couple extra boxes that you get to click on or check. That's really all it is.
A new animation. A new thing to look at while you throw yourself into the world of demons.
That's right. You're getting rewarded with a few tweaked numbers here on the screen, and you will pay immense amount of time. Just plunge into a world of horror and demons.
Yes. And what do they give? They have these crusaders who have these blessed hammers that are ineffectual. They do nothing. They show that God has no strength in the world of Diablo.
Look, in the world of Diablo, the world of Diablo is a Muslim world.
Yes, Teriel. The angel Teriel. He's dark-skinned, and his name means God of Tyre.
These are Solomonic Muslim demons.
They are.
Now, if you notice, there is no Jesus Christ in the world of Diablo. It is just God and Satan.
Yes, and the angels themselves are evil.
That's right.
The demons are bad, the angels are bad. There is no goodness. There is nothing positive about the world of Diablo.
There is just pure evil.
I will not stay a while and listen.
No, not at all. Deckard Cain is a Satanist. He is a wizard. He delves into dark satanic matters. He has occult powers.
And in the end, his blood is upon him.
You should not be involved with this game. You should not be wasting your time, spending your hard-earned money.
Yes, and even, this has been around for a while, like Diablo 2. Diablo 2 had these multiple gods. 3 gods of the underworld. 3. This is a reference, of course, to the 3 gods of Greco-Roman pagan culture.
That's right.
Baal, the lord of destruction, he's the deceitful liar. That's obviously Hades, the unseen god.
Right. Mephisto is clearly Mephistopheles, the dark sorcerer who entranced Faust, the satanic alchemist who made a deal with the devil.
Yes, and he, if you see how his power is and how it aligns, you can clearly see that Mephisto aligns very closely with another aspect of Hades, the underworld part.
Right, and then ultimately we have Diablo, who is, of course, the one who attacks Job.
Yes, he is terror. He is the god of terrorism. He is the reptilian moon god of Islam.
He is the reptilian manifestation of terror itself.
And you can see that although they started off with a more conventional, let's say Godzilla-looking Diablo, as the series went on, they feminized him, and you can see the feminism, the feminine aspect of evil in him.
That's right. That's right. The Diablo series should be avoided altogether. I think it's fair to say that if you spend time in this world, you will be possessed by demons.
Oh yeah, I spent so many hours in that world when before I was saved, just doing idle hands are the devil's playground. I made the enigma in Diablo 2, but it did not solve anything. I did not learn anything. It just took me to new places. It allowed me to feel like I could pass through walls, but I was caged in. God forgive me.
Well, we all lapse into our old ways, but the fight is real. The struggle is real.
Now let's move on to first-person shooters.
That's right.
Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike. It's a game that's meant to train terrorists.
That's right.
It's been used to train terrorists.
That's right. It is meant for young men to train themselves to shoot on American troops.
Yes. Do you know where this mod was made? It was originally not made by the people at Valve. It was a mod made in China to destabilize the West.
Right. Counter-Strike.
Striking back.
Right. Who are they striking back against?
They're striking back against the West.
Right.
And it's globalism.
And what did we do to them?
What did we do to China? We gave them so much.
That's right.
We gave them our education,
We give
our
them
culture.
jobs.
We gave them all our jobs. We're giving them more of our jobs.
That's right. And that's why we need Trump.
That's why we need Trump. And I'm sure if he's elected, he will get rid of this trash, this propaganda, and we'll have some proper free speech and educational content in video.
That's right. We hold quite a lot of things back here on Anti-Reptoid Radio because, let's face it, they're listening to us.
They're
and
listening.
They want to shut us down.
I get flags against my stuff all the time. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't care. But sometimes I can't put up a video because they don't want you to see the content.
Right. And, the Illuminati working through Google, they're always up to some nefarious deeds trying to keep this information away from people.
They're actually not even showing Trump in the search anymore. You have to search for him directly. If you search for the election, you only get Hillary.
Of course. I mean, why would it be any other way?
It can only be that way because they control the media.
Exactly. Now, another game that I think that we should talk about is
Civilization 5.
That's right. Civilization 5 is one of the best-selling games that they have. And this is clear. This is the most distinct Illuminati propaganda game that there has ever been made.
First of all, they don't acknowledge Christ, but they acknowledge how Christ will win, and that is the time victory.
Right, exactly. So the default is the time victory, and we all know that at, around 2050...
Christ comes back. They know that, and that's why they have to win before then.
Exactly. Now, they've also got uniting the world through globalist manipulation diplomacy.
Yes, they have the New World Order victory. They call it the diplomatic victory.
That's the New World Order. That is the shutting down of all opposition.
Yes, that is the one way. The one world government where you are powerless. You can no longer export copper or coal.
Now, when you select religions, what happens? You can give your own name to Christianity?
They're laughing at Christ.
That's blasphemy.
And your own beliefs. He's a god of craftsmen. They can take that away from Christianity.
Not only that, but the papists and those Greeks,
Christian orthodoxy. It's unorthodox.
They're on the same level as the pure and holy religion of Calvin.
And that's the thing. They have all these different names. They hide things, such as they have a culture victory. That is the erosion of one culture with a new world culture. You don't need a one world government when everyone agrees across borders. You can have the illusion of government control, independent governments, but everyone is one world culture. That's the culture victory.
That's right. Now, one thing they do get right
is all cultures have a distinct history and a distinct identity that they are and they should be, and other cultures are trying to wipe it out.
And an immortal leader for each of those cultures.
Yeah, there is one leader that typifies his people.
That's right.
For America, you got Washington.
He's a great man.
And the Egyptians, look at them now. They're Muslim, but at their core, they're isolationist, Ramses-like warlords.
That's right. They have war chariots. They build pyramids.
And that's the thing. They live by the Nile. That is their source. And the Egyptians, through all these years, really haven't changed from those primitive Egyptians.
That's right. Or what about Bismarck?
Bismarck. Germany is taking over Blut und Eisen, blood and iron. And that is how they're going to do it. They take over, they convert barbarians, and they invade everyone else. What do you think's going on now? The Germans are taking in barbarians. It's a little hard right now, but their army's going to increase in size. They're going to be a low upkeep because they're jihadis, and they're going to have World War III. And Germany's not falling out of the EU. Germany is taking Islam and making it the army of the EU, and thus making themselves the new world order.
That's right. And all of this is just prophesied.
They're laughing at us. When we write fiction, when anyone writes fiction, they write what they know.
Right.
And when the New World Order writes fiction, they write what they know. So it's going to be some version of Islam's coming into Germany, the Germans raising a private army from these Muslims, taking over the EU, stopping Britain's exit from Brexit, using Muslim oil to boycott Russia, killing Russia, Asia, that is China, moving north and east, cutting off Japan,
and what America, they're doing is giving the illusion of choice.
Yes, and this is the thing. We're thinking, oh, Germany's in trouble, all these Muslims. Germany's in control. And that is what they're telling us. Saudi Arabia is in this game too.
And what do they control? The oil.
They control oil.
They make all the money from the oil and the trade.
Yep.
And you know who they don't have a character of?
Who?
Adolf Hitler.
They don't have Hitler.
They just write him right out of history.
This is the same thing. Who do you think Bismarck's going to use the Muslims to kill first? The Muslims are going to ask for something in exchange. They're not going to serve their Angela Merkel, their angel of death. Their Angela of death. They're not going to serve her without cost. They want Israel.
That's right. And, you know, they will never talk about Israel in the Civ games. You will never, ever get an expansion pack coming out.
Nope, you got Jerusalem, an independent city-state, but it has no religion. You have Judaism as a religion, but no Jewish state.
That's right.
That's fucking stupid. That's how disproportionately disadvantaged Judaism is.
Exactly.
That's how disproportionately disadvantaged Judaism is, because they have a religion. It's a major religion, but they're not given a state. They're trying to wipe out the Jewish state.
Exactly. This is all part of the New World Order. They want to exterminate Israel and subsume it
into the Assyrian state, into the Babylonian state, which they recognized.
Exactly.
Into the Egyptian state.
The Assyrians, the Babylonians, these are all represented. There is no salvation in the Babylonian mystery tradition.
That is correct. They have the Arabians. The Arabians, who were they? What did they do in history?
They spread Satanism.
Yes.
They spread moon worship, and they spread oil and greed.
Disgusting. And what other games can we talk about that have this spreading of Islamic culture? Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed is an Illuminati game which talks about their methods of sending DNA back in time. They're laughing at us.
Yes, perhaps I can elaborate. They use genetic memories. That is because the brain, to memorize stuff, uses the same chains of proteins as DNA. It does. And to do this, every now and then, some of these chains make it into our DNA. And therefore, we pass on our memories genetically. Not as strong as the game suggests. But that's the thing. The game's trying to debunk this. Trying to tell you that by putting it in a game that's so silly, you'll think it can't happen. But this is true. So they throw out the golden apple to make it seem just fiction. They throw out all these things that truthers like us care about to make it seem implausible by putting it in a silly context.
That's right. And all the while making Muslims seem like good people.
The first game celebrated the Hashashins.
Yeah, you're assassins. You're murdering good Christians.
They don't even acknowledge that these people are high on drugs the entire time.
Right, that's what the word Hashashin comes from. It comes from marijuana.
Hash.
That's right. But, if you want to do that, you're free to do that. This is America. But these Hashashin also smoked opium.
Chemicals that are dangerous for your mind.
These are satanic enslaving chemicals, and no good can come from them. They are used to brainwash people into sexual servitude.
Yes, and just lewd behavior. This is why we find early healing gods that had lascivious acts attributed to them, worshipping the poppy.
That's right.
And why do you think in Flanders Field the poppies grow? This was a Masonic sacrifice of a whole generation to European death cults.
That's right. The death cults of globalism.
Exactly. They needed to keep down the working class. They needed a population control. And so they sent over a whole generation of average Westerners to their deaths.
This is their dark Walpurgisnacht. This is what it's all about. These are sacrifices. This is for the blood to be spilled on the ground and to increase the fear vibrations to allow the reptilians to come in.
The fear vibrations created by World War I.
Now, Call of Duty. This game is created to relive those terrors.
Well, in origin it was first meant to trigger older people who had post-traumatic stress disorder. But as time moved on...
Which you and I both know is really just a form of demonic possession.
Oh, it's such a form of demonic possession. But they used this to make people relive the fear and anxieties of war. And with the 9/11 attacks, we've moved now to modern warfare. And they're trying to, realizing that World War II wasn't delivering the fears that they needed, they are now making catastrophe scenarios to make us afraid.
Right. And now what they're also trying to do is recruit for police, which is it's a laudable, noble cause.
The police are being oppressed right
Blue
now.
lives matter.
The police are being oppressed. This is the first time in our history it's happening, and I can't believe it's happening. But we need to bring law and order back and stop this police oppression.
Right. I think that games like Grand Theft Auto 5 or Saints Row, these games are really making us disrespect the police. And that's what this is really all about. This is all about video games poisoning our minds against the police.
Yes, in Saints Row 3, you can just steal cop cars and go on chases and just start killing the army and the cops.
You just murder them all throughout the Grand Theft Auto 5 series.
They celebrate beating cops to death with dildos and just slamming them into the ground with concussive dubstep beats. This is engaging in degenerate culture. I can't. Do you know what it's like to see a giant person wearing a clown outfit, listening to gangster rap running down police in a monster truck. This is what they're celebrating.
You know what this is? This is what's called postmodernism, and it is the weapon of the Illuminati to make sure you don't know what is up and what is down, what is good, what is wrong. It is cultural relativism.
Yes, and Saints Row 4 recognizes this. They're laughing at you for the sloth weapon, they show you what you're doing. They're allowing you to kill the heart of America as you sit in a lazy boy and shoot rockets. It's brilliant. They're telling you what you're doing. You're destroying this world in a lazy boy.
That's right. They're laughing at you.
And other games try to instill other ideals into you. They created the whole game Spore. Spore. It had two functions.
Spore primarily it is directed against children, obviously.
It's meant to target children. It's cartoonish. It's meant to play with those who are the most creative, the most susceptible to unorthodox ideas, such as evolution.
Exactly. And what is Spore? It is the trajectory of evolution. It's Satanism. It's like watching the Mars Bringer of War in Fantasia. Don't watch that.
Eventually you get to the space age, and that's when you meet the reptilians.
Right. You get evolution, and then you get reptilians.
It's disgusting. And what's worse...
The reptilians they're intelligent beings. They don't just come out of nowhere.
What's worse, when it came out, they had they called it security software, but after installed, you couldn't delete it, and it was a tracking device.
Right. Now, let's talk about this. Speaking about this, let's talk about Mass Effect, the Mass Effect series. This is supreme Illuminati propaganda. And not only that, but it pushes the Hegelian dialectic.
Yes.
False opposition. You either accept the domination of the multicultural alien elites who force their political correctness upon you, or you're an evil person.
Yes, you have to accept this. And that's the thing with Mass Effect. They had this whole thing that was telling you that you were going to fight these overlords, that you could defeat them. Two games that all your choices mattered and built up to that. And in the third game, they told you what's really the truth. No matter what you do, you're going to lose.
That's right.
None of your choices matter. Nothing makes a difference.
There is no Lord in Mass Effect. He's not even an option.
No Lord. The aliens don't come back and get smitten. They come back and we're powerless.
The Reapers are no match for Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is far older than the Reapers. He is eternal.
He is eternal. The Reapers, they might comb the galaxy, whatever that is, anyways. They might comb the galaxy, searching for souls to devour, but it doesn't matter, because when you're saved by the power of Christ, the Reapers can't get you.
I do not fear Reapers.
No, don't fear the Reaper.
And that brings us to another game that is very close to Spore and Mass Effect. And that game is...
Fallout.
Fallout. Exactly. It has aliens too, but its message is one about climate change.
That's right, and about the dangers of trying to exterminate foul groups like ISIS.
Yes, the dangers of trying to fight terrorism, of trying to engage with the enemies, such as China, who took Alaska.
That's nonsense. If somebody takes those things, you have to take it from them.
Yes, and they have this idea that we, humanity, with a few bombs, can destroy the world.
God.
Japan's doing fine. Look at that. They've had Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the Fukushima thing. They're doing fine.
Look, God said one generation comes and one generation goes, but the earth abideth forever.
Exactly.
So, there's nothing you can do.
The earth is doing fine.
The earth is fine.
It's supporting more people now than it ever did.
Like, humanity will find a way.
And the idea of Fallout, that there's this toxic climate change.
Jesus would never allow that to happen anyways.
If Fallout exists, it's because the rapture has happened.
That's right. Or the reptilians have been allowed to take over.
Which will only happen if no one accepts Jesus Christ as their Lord.
Exactly. And also if they don't subscribe to our channel.
Well, yes, or any other truther who seeks to bring the word of Jesus Christ and the globalists, about the globalists and the reptilians and these satanic practices meant to divert us from our love of Christ.
Right.
Now I want to talk about a game that's good for a change.
Alright, let's do it.
Mount and Blade.
Oh, an excellent game.
Wonderful game.
Mount and Blade, there's no demons.
It's just humans.
There's just, humans have always, there's war in the Bible, right? Like,
Yeah, there are set borders decided by climate and natural boundaries.
and best of all, women are put in their place.
Yeah, you play Skyrim, you dress up as a woman, no one cares. You play Dragon Age, you're a woman, nobody cares. But in Mount and Blade, this tells you where it's at. You try to go out into a battlefield with some tits, no one's gonna give you any patronage.
No,
You will
nobody
not.
will trust you with a kingdom.
Nobody will give you a castle.
No.
Yeah, this is the thing. You have to fight hard for it because you're a woman. Women are fickle.
Right. And, the glass ceiling, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. Do you want to have your general leave the battlefield to pump breast milk?
But it's not like you can get a break from being a, cold ruler 5 days out of every month.
Exactly. You can't just be irrational and all over the place and unable to control yourself for a week and expect people to follow you. You need strong, steady hands. We need men like, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Donald Trump, Bismarck, yes, Lieutenant Eisen. That is, you have to have a calculated mind.
Right. And but Mountain Blade, it has the world kind of as it is, and
It tells you what it's like. You don't have just abilities. You have to earn them. You have to work hard for them.
right, you have to strategize. You gotta build relationships.
Exactly. And while you can build trade relationships, in the end, you always have to be at war. You have to be divided. Because it's the separation. It's the struggle for excellence.
Right, and how else will you bring vaguer Christianity to those
Yes.
satanic sand people and the Mongols?
Yes, the Sand People and the Mongols. Exactly. They recognize what they are, and they put them in their place. You don't have the Sandland coming out and just inhabiting the Northwest.
No, never.
And I think this covers the video game discussion, because we've discussed a lot.
Right, and this is an endless black abyss of nightmares and terror. I mean, there's just endless distractions being pumped out every day, and you can put in your entire life into video games and never even scratch the surface. But that's not what Christ has sent us here to do. Christ has put us on this earth to fight the reptilians, and how are you going to be fighting reptilians for playing video games all day long?
Exactly. You have to get out there and fight them in the streets. You have to argue with them. You have to address them and accost them.
Right.
So, with that, I must continue my message outside. Until next time, God bless.
God bless.